Hello, everybody. I'm Unbalanced, and welcome to another exciting episode of Hiatus, where we're on hiatus and we're not playing RO, and everybody is passively, kind of passive-aggressive about it, but we're not going to pay attention to them. So instead of just kind of rambling in this video, I did want to get into... well, obviously, there's still going to be rambling. This is a live recording. But I wanted to get into some of my plans that I have for the future of the channel, while also just kind of still racking off my brain with no filter. Because I like doing that. It lets me bring up stuff that I would have otherwise not planned. And maybe if I were writing a script, I would say, nah, they don't need to know about that. But no, screw that. You guys need to know about everything that I can blurt out in this time frame. So, what I would like to talk about today is the, plans I have for the future of the channel and the series ideas I have going forward. There is a lot of stuff that I have in my brain space, and this, hiatus has given me a lot of time to think about doing a lot of stuff without actually doing it. And as someone who likes to be productive, that is extremely frustrating for me. Because my brain gets absolutely dumb when I'm not putting stuff out, being, a productive member of society. If you could call being a YouTuber that, then absolutely, that's oxymoron of the year. I know. It's a lot of fun. I could do so much more if I were like a doctor or something, but... Details. The main point is I don't want to be sitting around doing nothing. I hate that. It's boring. It's one of the main reasons I don't like watching movies, because I don't feel like I'm engaged. I don't feel like I'm doing something. I have no agency over what's happening, and my brain just sort of kind of turns off when that happens. And that's not a good thing. You don't want your brain to turn off. I wouldn't recommend it. 9 out of 10 doctors agree that you shouldn't. So, with that said, I've had a lot of time to think about what I want to do. And I just kind of wanted to relay what my brain space is going to you guys. Because, you guys seem to enjoy these hiatus videos a little bit, at least some of you. And other people are just like, no, go back to Ara. What are you doing? What are you doing, my guy? Come on. Hurry up. Hurry up with this hiatus business. I miss my RO content. And you know what? Fair. That's fair. But I think while I would like to eventually move on from RO, I don't think it's realistic to try and, squeeze the game for everything it's worth. We're just going to have a worse time with it as we go. Not only that, but I'm not even sure of how informative I can even be, given the fact that so many RO servers function extremely differently. How informative could I really be if we're all just playing different games? And I'm not talking about different games as in actually different games. I'm talking about the meta and the way that you play RO is different per server. The way that you would play RO and approach content and prepare for challenges is completely different on IRO than it would be on KRO. And that's just an official server example. It gets even more divergent when you start getting into private servers. So in my task to sort of try to be informative, it's kind of a fool's errand to try and please everybody in the RO space. And just in general, really. I would like to keep my video style generally the same. I like to be informative. I don't like to waste people's time. I do like to be funny at times, but I like to riddle it in where it's, you're still getting a lot of information from the video, but it'll occasionally make you laugh. And that's the kind of videos that I like to make. However, with how divergent RO is being lately, especially with a lot more people starting to reject the official behavior of what's going on, especially with like GXs and just the class balance and where it is. You're going to see a lot less of servers kind of be the same. I know back in like 2017, I think every server kind of wanted to emulate KRO, and I don't feel like that's the case anymore. And you'll have more and more servers being like, hey, we're kind of gonna do our own thing so that the game isn't completely imbalanced. And it gets more true by the day, especially when we see how things are going on KRO, and even the KRO community is like, what are you guys doing? This is so dumb. You know, like the fourth jobs come out and they're broken, and you know, they're missing things, and you couldn't even become a biologist or a biolo. You couldn't even become a biolo like when it came out because the quest was bugged, and it's like, man, come on, guys, you're really, this is sloppy. Sloppy. Come on, you're better than this. I know you're better than this. But are you really? You know, at this point in time, are they still really better than that? What arbitrary image of gravity are we holding gravity to? Because gravity is gravity. I don't know if you guys realize that. It's still the same dudes. Well, no, it's not really the same dudes, but it's the same, probably the same management doing the same things they were doing 3 years ago. But yeah, no, I just kind of wanted to get that out there. So, some ideas I have for, like, future series is I would like to branch out. The problem is I really like to play perpetual games, such as MMOs. And doing that kind of thing while also balancing RO, or not RO, but YouTube into the equation, is a absolute fool's errand. It is not going to work, because in order to be informative about an MMO, you kind of have to play it for a couple of months. So before I get any actual content that I want to put out, I'm already like 3 months behind on video schedule in terms of like what I need to get out and when, and how am I gonna make it so like the YouTube algorithm doesn't throw me under the bus and throw away the key, even though, well, no, buses do have keys, they're cars. You know what I mean? YouTube promotes perpetual and constant content while, you know, saying to hell with quality. We don't need that stuff. Just put more stuff out. We want eyes. We don't care if it's engaging. We don't want brains. We just want kids to jump on their laptop and spend mom's credit card all day long. So that's the kind of mentality that you get from like big boy YouTube, while also kind of you get this like weird sort of like, basically there is a lot of programs in YouTube that when you're not doing what they want, they make it abundantly clear that you're messing up, that you're failing, and they will go out of their way to tell you that, hey, this video that you put out is bad. You messed up here. And it's terrible, and I really don't agree with how they do that, but I need to remember that this is not a career of mine. I'm not doing this for the financial aspect of it. I'm mainly doing it to keep my brain from imploding, and that's kind of where I'm at, and it's where I've always been at, but it's kind of hard to not get wrapped up in all of the, like, you know, do you want, like, if you want to do something, you want to do it right. But unfortunately, doing something right, especially in, like, modern capitalistic systems, just means doing something worse. If you look at, I may be getting controversial here, but if you look at just, like, how incentive structures work in terms of, like, modern systems, you are incentivized to, you know, make your workers work for less. You're incentivized to pollute the environment. You are incentivized. Da-da-da-da-da. I'm getting a little bit, you know, communist here, but that's not what that's not the point of this video. The point of the video is I don't want to do the right thing by YouTube. I want to make good content that I enjoy and you guys enjoy, and I don't want to waste people's time. I think that's the worst thing you could do. And I hate it when there's videos of like, here's this thing that I could explain in 30 seconds. Here's a 10-minute video about it. And it's like, you are wasting my time. Get out of here. I'm not watching this dumb video. So I've always kind of prided myself on not being that kind of YouTuber, I guess you could say. And while I have done my fair share of pranks and funny nonsense, mainly picking at that sort of dynamic, I never really wanted to do that, and I always feel bad when I even like dip into the idea. But anyway, I would like to get into other games. The problem is, I really like perpetual games. I play mainly MMOs and stuff that basically, I don't know why, but my brain does not like playing single-player games that have an ending. Because, I don't know, man, I feel like I need to have something that I can come back to, even if I never come back to it. This is why I love MMOs, because it's not just like a game that you're playing. It's an investment. You're building up your resources, or you're making a character better, and that's cool. I like that. But in the terms of YouTube, it doesn't really make sense, and not only do I have the YouTube algorithm to please, I also have you guys that don't want to watch stuff that isn't, you know, what you want to watch. And I'm not knocking people for not enjoying this content. If you're not enjoying what you're watching, you don't have to watch it. The only guilt that I'd have is where, for example, the Patreons support me for doing a certain thing. If I stop doing that certain thing, then I need to then they shouldn't be charged. That's why I skipped the Patreon this month. Because that, I feel like, you know what? You supported me with the idea that I was going to make RO content in mind. If I'm not creating RO content, then I'm not going to take your money. And while that contribution does help the channel, I want to be perfectly honest about that when there is a transactional sort of deal there. With that said, YouTube is a different beast. YouTube is very weird, and it's got a bunch of creepy tendrils that do weird things, and it's kind of hard to branch out when you need to, when every sign on the YouTube page is telling you this is a terrible idea, you're failing. But if you don't do it, then you're just kind of stuck playing this game that you kind of feel like you're done with. And then it just sorts of gets less enjoyable, and eventually I would rather transition into something else rather than just burning out completely and disappearing forever. I still like RO a lot, and I still definitely will cover it, but I think the influence that RO has on the channel will slowly but surely degrade. And if that's a problem for you guys, I'm sorry, I just really don't see where the game is going in the future. I feel like it's run its course. I feel like it's time for me to move on, but at the same time, I don't want to take off immediately without any warning. I do still want to see how the Fourth Jobs perform, see if it could prove me wrong. I would also like to see some out-of-the-box servers that, you know, kind of change the dynamic of the game a tremendous amount, because there are a lot of cool servers. There's a lot that you can do with the RO engine. I would like to give Shining Moon Niflheim another shot, because that Lunar has more control over the balance of that game, or of that server, so it's probably a lot better than current KRO official behavior, which is kind of weird to think, but that's just where we're at, man. Like, if gravity ain't gonna do it, you know, we gotta figure out who can. And I know a lot of you are in the same boat. A lot of you are saying, man, I've been thinking about this for a while. And that's cool. I'm glad I'm not the only one, and it's nice to get my brain out there to find like-minded people, because humans are very commutative or community-driven creatures. Instead of saying a word that doesn't exist, I decided to change the word. Humans are very community-driven creatures, and we like to know that we're not alone, and we like to know that our suffering is not isolated. That's very comforting to people. That's why it's so much easier to go in like a scary roller coaster ride with a friend than it is to go on your own. That's why it's so much easier to go shopping or whatever it may be, whatever task that you find challenging in your life. It's always easier if you have help. And that's just because humans are commutative creatures, and we like company. We're so commutative that we found creatures that didn't speak to us, and we raised them until they liked us. And I'm referring to, you know, wolves and to dogs there, but that's how community-driven humans are. We are tremendously driven by community and working together, more so than any other animal on the planet. So knowing that you guys are feeling the same way, and I'm not just going cuckoo crazy because of GX, that's good to know. I appreciate that. I like that. That being said, I would like to get like in depth with MMOs, and I'm not talking. I always feel like MMO reviews they leave a lot to be desired, because it's like, in order to actually review an MMO, you kind of have to play it a lot. You have to kind of be in it, you know. You can't really give a fair analysis of, you know, say, let's say the Phantasy Star, perfect example. You couldn't give a fair analysis of this game and how, like, all of the intricacies work with the cash shop and everything, without living it for a while. And I feel like at this point I could probably do it for this game, but there's a lot of games that I couldn't do it for. Just a you know, off of the cuff example. Phantasy Star Online is a very exciting game right now, because it's currently going through basically launching another game within itself, and that's super hype. Like, that is beyond hype. But because of that, they're doing this system where cosmetics are going to carry over to the new game, but any statistical advantage that you have with your gear is not. So this means that in the current PSO2 economy, cosmetics are worth a lot more than any kind of progressional change. So with that said, you can still buy a lot of the progression with in-game money, and a lot of people do prefer to skip that rather than grinding. But at the same time, clothes are forever. Damage is temporary. And I know a lot of people are stocking up on their costumes for when the new game comes out, because unlike most MMOs, I think Phantasy Star kind of realizes, you know what, we're at the end of our rope here. We're not going to try and turn this into a perpetual forever thing. Because, as we've seen, this is the second Phantasy Star. They had one before this, and it eventually ended. And now, I guess they're doing the new one, but they're doing it in this really unique way where they're kind of remastering the original and then making a new game on top of it, which I think is really interesting. I can't wait to see how it like actually performs, but it sounds really cool to me. I'm super hyped. This is definitely something I want to cover more. Because I really like Phantasy Star Online too. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's a really nice MMO. It does have, obviously, some dark corners in terms of like microtransactions and stuff. I'm not really a big fan of how they put stat items in the gacha boxes. Like, you can buy them with currency, like with the in-game money, but I still feel like that's a big, you know, you could just put those in the game, honestly. Like, I wish they were available in a way that wasn't that way. And unfortunately, that's just not how it is, and every MMO is going to have its flaws. And that's why I think you need to be very thorough when you when you review an MMO, when you try to suggest people play this game for the good portion for many, many years, I feel like it needs to do more justice than a usual video game review. And that's kind of where I feel like MMOs are just really hard to review in general. We've seen this with, I know my community will definitely know that, remember when Tree of Savior was coming out, and the reviews for it were amazing. And it was mainly because it was like pre-game reviews. Then they had like their private, like I had a private beta server just for reviewers. So a lot of the issues that plague TOS, such as like the kill stealing epidemic and all of that like nonsense monster spawning business, didn't apply to the reviewers, so they went through the game a lot smoother than most players would have. Whereas someone who, leveled up and plays the game daily for months and months will know exactly how it is to be a new player, an old player, what exactly drives the economy, how much of an influence do microtransactions have on the game, etc., etc. Because these are all very important things for an MMO. Especially a free-to-play MMO, they have to make their money somewhere. So obviously, where are they going to make that money? And you need to make that very clear. I feel like you need to make that abundantly clear in your review that this is their monetization aspect. It may change, it may not. It looks pretty solid. They have, do they have any... hints at changing it? Is there like a community backlash? How's the community feel about this change? Is there a lot of pressure on the developers to change the current system? And with the PSO, I could say, no, there isn't. People like how the microtransactions work in this game. While there is a lot of people that, just don't like microtransactions in general, can't blame them. But a lot of the PSO2 players are, acceptant in the fact that, there's gonna be some paid items. This is a free game, and it's not like these are unobtainable without paying money. They're just, you've just got to work for them. And if you know what you're doing, it isn't too difficult to get what you might want. However, you're not gonna get a crap ton of cash shop items without paying any money, unless you're like a genius marketeer and just absolutely play the market for a fool. And obviously that does those kind of people do exist, and I'm not putting it past you, but the average player is not going to do that, and you know it, and I know it, and we all know it. And don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself. The average player is absolutely not going to be pro marketeer, all up in the business. So keep that in mind. Oh, that was weird. Little phase skip. So the average player isn't going to do that. So what would the average player be doing? Probably what the game tells them to do. How is the dailies in the MMO? How is the the gameplay loop, as it were? What is expected of you in a weekly turn of this game? Since MMOs are more than really games, they're kind of lifestyles that you plan around, you play it every day, you know what you're doing, something that you come home and you play, and then you come home the next day and you play some more. So what kind of what could a player expect with this kind of scenario? And that's what I would really like to get into. Because a lot of MMOs might look promising, they might have a really good grind, and then you get to the end game and it's absolute butts. For example, I really like Black Desert Online. I really love how that game plays right up until the very end, and then I hate it because it turns into like this RTS nonsense, and I cannot stand it, and I immediately put the game down as soon as I hit the max level. But every second of the game until that point, I was loving it. And if I would have given a review at, you know, the one level away from the max level, I would have given it like 10 out of 10, amazing game, beautiful graphics, excellent combat, and then immediately when it gets into like, how am I going to accomplish things in this game, it's not fun, I don't like this. So I wish in that sense that game was more, I wish the grind was more focused on the things that you enjoy doing in the game. Whereas what a lot of MMOs I feel fall flat is that they make the grind unenjoyable. And they make the grind this tedious thing that you really don't want to be doing when they have awesome mechanics that they could be using as a grind mechanic. So that's generally my brain outage for today. Let me know what you guys think about, like, you know, moving the channel in the direction, especially if you're a Patreon supporter. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And, you know, if you're gonna pull your support because I'm not covering RO content, you're absolutely in the okay to do that. I do not mind at all. I know a lot of the Patreons play other games. I see you guys on Discord just chumming it up with games that are definitely not RO. So I might be a little late to the party in terms of like moving on and branching out and branching up into other things. And I would like to get into depth with MMOs and, you know, make the kind of videos that I like to make. The informative and slightly funny videos that you would see from my RO content, but with other things. And I would like to branch out into, you know, things that could be useful to more people and also more engaging to me and allow me to express myself creativity a lot more. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next hiatus video or over on my stream, which I'll be streaming tomorrow and the next day after that, the next day after that. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all weekend, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. EST. I hope to see you guys there. We're playing some PSO on Friday. We're going to be playing probably Minecraft on Saturday. And then B-side, anything can happen. It's a random day. Anything, you know, we could be playing Butts McGee for all I know. I don't know. But yeah, I hope to see you guys on the stream or in the next video. And let me know your thoughts down below. Happy hiatus month. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.